If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Look, guys, I'm not a big component of having an exact plan about what you're going to do for every single day of your life going forward from today. But you have to have some idea about what you want to do and where you are going. You can't just be aimlessly wandering through life, waiting for things to happen, because ultimately, if you don't make things happen, nothing will happen. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And I notice a lot of guys are wandering around through their lives with this sort of aimless swagger. You know, they say, well, we'll see what happens. You know, I'm just going to keep doing my thing and I'll see where I end up. And look, as I said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, because there are a lot of people who want the same things that we want. They have the same ambitions that we have, but they just plan and strategize to achieve those things. And look, if somebody really wants something and they have a solid plan to go and get it, despite how much you want it, you're not going to beat them. You're not going to achieve the thing that you both want before them. You know, they're more switched on, they're more prepared, they're more ready. And this is why I think it's very important that if you're an ambitious person and you have things in this world that you really want to go and chase and really want to go and achieve, you can't just be wandering around aimlessly waiting for things to change. If you don't change, nothing is going to change. So look, it's clear that if you're watching personal development content like this, you're an individual who is ambitious, you're an individual who wants to improve their life. But ultimately, you need to start thinking on a really deep level of what do you want your life to look like in 20 years' time? You know, myself, I'm a young guy. In 20 years, I have big ambitions and big things that I want to achieve by that point. But because I have that understanding of where I want to be within that time span, it's very, very easy for me to calculate the things that I need to do now. The things that I should be doing day in and day out. It's difficult, but it's simple. Simple, but difficult. You just have to look to the future, guys, a little bit more. Don't become the guy who just says, we'll see what happens. Because in some senses, that's wonderful. In some senses, a little bit of spontaneity is a good thing. It's quite refreshing. But if that's everything and anything that you do, you're just the guy who is, well, we'll see what happens. It'll be what it will be. You're not going to have a very fruitful or successful career, life, overall flow to your life. You know, there are some things that you want to be more relaxed on than others. There are some times where you do need to chill out and relax and see what happens, but you must have a plan for your life. You don't just start a business and say, oh, we'll see where it goes. What happens to those businesses? Generally speaking, they go bust very, very quickly. It's the businesses that have a good understanding of their goals and how to achieve them, and then a solid plan of how to go and do that, that will last and in fact grow and become very successful. So start treating yourself like a business. It took me a very long time to understand this. It's something that I'm still improving my understanding of every single day. But believe it or not, there were times where I would just wander through life saying, oh, we'll see what happens. And that's great when you're a kid, and that's great when, you know, you don't have too many responsibilities, or indeed you don't have too many ambitions, because you kind of feel like, okay, we'll see, you know, there's no harm. Nobody's going to die if I don't do anything today. We'll see what happens. It's okay when you're young, but as you get older and you start developing those responsibilities and those ambitions get a little bit more serious, and you start to actually grow up and visualize what you want your life to look like in 20 years' time, things get a bit more serious. But I noticed that there are some guys that have this ambition, but still don't have a plan about what they're going to do to achieve their goals. And look, it's so important that you have a rough idea of what you're going to do to achieve the things you want to achieve. I have a rough idea about your next steps, a rough idea about what the next 10 years of your life look like. I'm not telling you to go and grab a piece of paper and write out every single hour of every single day, but come on, start getting a little bit more strategic with things, because if not, guys, you're just wandering around aimlessly. You're figuring out what you're going to do today when you wake up. There's no plan of action. When you wake up, there's too much time to guess or estimate. Well, I could go to the shop, and then I suppose I could go to the gym, and then maybe I could do some studying and maybe some reading, and then maybe it's too much. Every single day you're going to find yourself mumbling and bumbling through. Don't you want to wake up every single day with a plan, with a bit of conviction? You wake up, you shower, you get ready, and you're gone, you're out the door. Because you already know what you got to do today. You planned it the night before. This is a good practice. This is a practice that I do myself, and I'd recommend for a lot of you. Don't just wake up and figure out what to do. Have a plan the night before. Because look, when you wake up, we've all done it, and you don't have a plan, you just wander through the day. And this is how a lot of guys wander through life. Start being more strategic about your day-to-day, but also the long term. If you've set yourself a goal by 40 to become a millionaire, you've got to ask yourself, okay, what is it going to take? Realistically, what is it going to take? Obviously, it's going to take a lot of hard work, but in your sector, in your field, in your line of work, in whatever it is that you plan to do to make this money, what is it going to take? And if you haven't thought about this, this is something that you really need to think about. Because it's not just going to come to you. You're not just going to get it. There's so many guys that are walking around delusional. I'm not saying don't be hopeful. I'm not saying don't be optimistic. But that optimism has to come from a source. It can't just come from nothing. It can't just come from nothing. The world isn't just going to give you what you want. You have to go and take it. But a huge part of going and taking it, 70% of going and taking it, is having an idea about how you're going to go and get it. That's the hard part, figuring out what you're going to do. When you figure it out, all you got to do is do it. And start doing it. Look, it's simple. It's very difficult, but it's simple. And this is the thing. Try not to overcomplicate it. I'm not saying have a plan for everything and anything you do, but stop going into everything you do blindly. Walking around as if you're just covering your eyes. You said, oh, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. What are you doing today, my friend? I'm not too sure. We'll see. Depends how I feel later. No. Come on. Develop a plan. Have a bit of a strategy. And start treating your life and your success as if it were a business. Because ultimately it is. And it's up to you how you run it. But look, if you took some value from this video today, guys, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to my channel, comment your thoughts down below for much more from me. If you guys are interested, I'm going to leave my men's Discord community link down below. Join that. It's a good group of guys that are trying to help each other level up and make some changes in our lives. And if you're interested in one-to-one coaching with me on a more personal level, click the link down below, book yourself a slot, and I will see you on the other side. As always, guys, thank you for your time and your attention, and I will see you in the next one.